Welcome back to the Intuitive Mentor Mom podcast, where we explore strategies for growing confidence, empowerment, and gaining clarity for midlife moms. When life is happening for you and not to you, you can be living the life of freedom, fun, and bliss. I'm your host, Tara Michelle. Let's get to it. Welcome back to the Intuitive Mentor Mom podcast, where we explore how life is happening for us and how to navigate all the various aspects of your life. And I really just share a lot about my own personal experience and hope that it's going to make a difference for somebody. And maybe you'll hear some things for yourself that resonate, and you could take a look at how you navigate your life. But we've been talking about our lives as this illusion and being the architects of our lives and how we master that and really how we explore that. And in the last episode, episode 9, where I was talking about mastering your reality, right? Mastering your reality, being the architect, how mindset is powerful, your mindset and how you perceive things, how, self-care can be important. But really, what I wanted to get into this week was how we are going to hold ourselves accountable. Initially, two of the most important things that I said when you're looking at being a conscious creator of your life and reconstructing the architecture of your illusion, right? Reconstructing the architecture of your illusion. It's like a matrix, really. For those of you who believe in the matrix, it's like a matrix. We look at releasing our attachment to the outcome. We also look at what is it that we have to give up? What is it we have to give up to really allow ourselves to be open to embracing and receiving that which we desire? So what's really awesome is I've done a lot of self-development work over the years. And whenever, one of the things I've learned is when you are setting out to recreate something for yourself, or whether you're on the verge of a huge breakthrough, typically the very thing you say, I'm going to create X, within days, hours, weeks, however long it takes for your situation to show up, the exact opposite will show up. The exact opposite thing will show up. Almost like the universe is saying, oh, really? You want to create that? Let's see how that's going to go for you. We're going to test you a little bit. How bad do you want it? That's how I've always seen it. Okay. And again, that goes back to the space of how life's happening for us. I see it as happening for me, not to me. It's an opportunity for me to look at what are these situations or these scenarios that are showing up in my life, and what are they here to teach me? The people that are showing up in my life, what are they here to teach me? What are the things that I can do to shift, grow, and expand myself? I recently did a post on Instagram. We're only ever expanding or contracting. So when you look at yourself as like this energetic being, you're only ever expanding into your world or contracting into your world. Another way to look at that is you are living in the fullest self-expression of you, or you're contracting in the space of fear, overwhelm, worry, that kind of stuff, right? So you're only ever expanding your energy or contracting your energy. And it's inside of exploring those two spaces and the depth of emotions that reside in those spaces. When you have that awareness of those spaces, that's where the healing occurs, and that's where the awakenings can happen. So I'm excited about today's topic because we're going to look at holding ourselves accountable. And I'm going to use, as I've shared, I'm going to use my life as the example, because after posting that video or that podcast last week, I had all kinds of stuff show up. Ooh, I had a really rough week. I had an emotional weekend and I had an emotional week. And it really was designed, what I feel, to push me up against something that I had an aha moment about this weekend. So in my last episode, episode 9, towards the end, I had mentioned how, I would love to look at, I would love, and I will eventually share a lot of stuff around romantic relationship. But I'd had something show up that day that I had recorded that podcast that was really beautiful. And it was a huge breakthrough in this relationship that I have with somebody. We're not in a romantic relationship at all, but we have emotions and we have feelings there. And there's been a lot of back and forth over the last year that we've known each other. And really, if anything, this person has just showed up in my life to really help me grow into the woman that I'm becoming and to really help me have to look at areas and aspects of myself that I have not wanted to explore, either out of the fear of what the emotion inside me feels like, or the fear of having to figure out, oh my God, I don't know that I like that about myself, right? So this person and I had a beautiful conversation the day that I had recorded the last episode. And uh, I got really excited, like, oh my God, okay, this is good. Only to have the very next day the continued pattern of a result show up yet again. And in that pattern, there is the experience of rejection, there's the experience of being pushed away, there's the experience of obstacles, there's the experience of absolute frustration. There's the experience of what's the word? So expectation leads to upset. So complete and total upset. And in the moment, I was going to quote unquote be great about the result of a conversation. I was just going to be great about it and hold space and just keep doing this dance that we've been doing for a year. And then I just told myself, girl, what are you doing? No, no more, no more, no more. And what I was saying no more to was no more was I going to allow myself to not look in an area within my body and in my heart that I was terrified of looking at. I was terrified of feeling this feeling. Whatever this dance that he and I have been doing, where it creates this form of rejection in my thought process or my, I don't want to, I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it with like, justifying it with all these tools that I have. I would literally feel rejected. I would feel rejected. I would feel let down. I would feel pushed away and I would feel heartbroken yet again. What I'd been afraid of doing was allowing myself to really feel what that was, like what that really feels like. Because if I had to go dive down into that space within me, whatever that compartment in my soul or in my heart, where it sits in the root chakra, it sits in the solar plexus, and it sits in the heart, like it's in all three of those areas. And then it's tied to the mental construct of something else I'm going to get to on this show. I had to force myself to be accountable that this had nothing to do with him per se. He's showing up as the catalyst to push me into having to look at an area of myself that I didn't want to look at. And I kept justifying it and justifying his actions and his behaviors so that I wouldn't have to look at this space within me. And there I was getting ready to do this workout, got the response that I wasn't looking for, was not hoping for, got the outcome that I was really, I'm sorry, got the opposite of the outcome that I was attached to. Okay. Which this goes back to the last episode. I was very attached to an outcome, and that outcome didn't occur at all. If anything, it was like a giant backfire. I don't want to say it backfire. It just didn't, it did because there was nothing to backfire. It just didn't turn out the way I had hoped it was going to turn out. And as a result, it forced me to tell myself, I had to tell one on myself, Tara Michelle, you have to stop allowing yourself to ignore this feeling, to cover this feeling up, to cover up the pain, to cover up the anger, and to cover up the frustration. You have to stop making excuses for that person, and you have to start looking at what was really going on in your body. And what was really going on in my body was that I had fallen in love with this person. I love this person. And I was unwilling and afraid to truly express how I felt out of fear of losing them. Now, here's the thing. I never had them to begin with. Still don't have him. Even if we were together, I don't have him. There's nothing to have. I don't own him. But there was this aspect of me so terrified to put up a boundary and say no more to a behavior that I kept letting slide, because then I wouldn't have to look at the pain that was in my heart. Like I could make up an excuse and kind of drag it out, like cover it up. I'm going to cover that up. I'm going to cover that up. And I'm going to keep justifying why this is happening. And I'm going to let him off the hook. I'm going to let me off the hook, and I'm going to let everybody off the hook, and everything's going to be fine. And I'm just going to keep dragging this out. I'd hit my limit. I could no longer let him off the hook in a behavior that I kept seeing, and I could no longer let myself off the hook in a behavior that I was seeing. And I picked up the phone and I left him a message because he didn't answer the phone. I left him a message, and then that kind of spiraled into a conversation that where the shell cracked open. I gushed out my emotions and my feelings and told him the truth that I'd been holding back. Now, here's the thing. I think he already knew that. I mean, it's so apparent when we're near each other, when we're around each other, like the emotions and the feelings that are there. I think we both are very aware of that. But the timing is off. It's not, we're not in the same place, period. But I had to stop. What's the word? I had to hold myself accountable to choices I was making that weren't in the highest good for myself. I'll just totally remove him from the rest of this. This is about me having to hold myself accountable. And we're going to talk about that today, because that conversation and that nut cracking then cracked open to another nut that then spiraled into the area of my career, where I had to hold myself accountable yet again and face another conversation or aha or epiphany that occurred this weekend. And that aha was the conversation of a subconscious phrase that runs in the background of my mind, which is, why can't they see me? And really how it goes is, why can't they effing see me? Like, what? Why can't they hear me? Why can't they see me? Super frustrated inside of that conversation running in the background, to where literally everything in the area of my career over several years has shown up and really designed to have me recognize that. And it has taken years for me to recognize that that is the conversation running in my subconscious. Why can't they see me? That same conversation runs in the area of romantic relationships. Why can't they see me? Why don't they choose me? Why do they overlook me? Why is it never me to be chosen? What did I do? How is it they missed me again? They missed me again. They still can't see me. They still can't hear me. How come they can't hear me or see me? Look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm doing all the things. Can't you see me? Look at all the things I'm doing. Am I doing it right? Does any of this sound familiar to anybody out there? Or am I just the only one that feels this way about myself? Oops. Oops. Sorry. Record scratch. Um, for real, that's what showed up for me this week. Like, oh my gosh. And all of this showed up because, hey, what are we talking about on this podcast? This very thing. And who gets to go through all of the the healing adventures? I do, because what's my show about? Life's healing adventures through, the mindset or the perspective of an intuitive mom, and so here I am constantly putting my ass on the line, looking at how my life is showing up for me, such that I can have the breakthroughs and uh, just the breakthrough so that I can expand into my biggest, broadest self as a human being and truly step into my truth and truly step into what's possible on this journey that I'm living. And I invite everybody who's listening to this episode to really look at your life from that perspective. This is your life. Remember, we talked about it being your illusion, and let's take the negative context out of illusion and let's recreate it to something empowering as you are the architect of your life. So, what do you have to give up, and what do you have to hold yourself accountable in order to reconstruct the architecture of the illusion that you're standing inside of? Because we could say, okay, if an area of your life is not working, then that's the illusion, right? That's the false illusion. You're like, hey, this is not the outcome I was desiring. This is not the world I want to live in. This is not how I want to show up in my life for myself or my friends or my family, my kids or my husband, my wife. Like, this is not who I want to be. Then you get to recreate that. And I said in the last episode that we were going to talk about how you hold yourself accountable. How I hold myself accountable is I begin to ask myself questions, and I kind of just ask them like throughout the day, like, why is this happening for me? And then I'll forget about it. And I'll just, God, why is this showing up the way it is? Why does this keep looking the way it does? I'll throw those questions out here and there, just asking myself, because I know at some point the answer is going to show up. So there I was standing in the shower, doing my shower routine, washing the hair, shaving your legs, doing the things. And all of a sudden, and I think I was was I listening to a book? No, I was just listening to, I think I was listening to Trevor Hall. He's one of my favorites that I like to listen to. His lyrics are always so transformative. And I don't know what song was playing, but I was listening and doing my shower routine and actually getting ready to go to a conference because I had a conference I had to attend for work on a Saturday morning. And all of a sudden I heard, why can't they see me? They can't see me. They can't see me. They can't can see me. And then I heard, because you haven't seen you. I sat with that because I haven't seen me. What does that mean? I haven't seen me. And it was this overwhelming sense of awareness of myself, of who I really am in this world. And I get very caught up in the doing of world, okay? The doingness of life. Tell me if you can relate to this. You get up, you might look at your phone when you get up, or you got the kids screaming, or the dogs or the cat. Like everybody's ready. Like everybody's waiting for you to get up, and they're wanting you to get up, and you got to get up, and you got to feed the animals, and the lunches, and the meetings, and oh my God, I got to get a shower, and oh my God, I got to work out. I got to do all these things. Like you have a million things going, right? I gotta take my supplements. Gotta do my exercises. Gotta go for a walk. Oh my God, I didn't go for a walk. Oh my God, I forgot to make that call yesterday. Shit, I gotta call that person. Oh my God, and I still want to go out this weekend. What are we doing this weekend? Oh my God, and there's picture days coming up. Like that's really, right? Your brain is on overdrive. And then you just keep going. get your coffee, get dressed, get in the shower, make the lunches. You keep going, you keep going, you keep going, right? And you do this day in and day out and day in and day out. And every now and then you're like, I'm going to take that time off for myself. I'm going to rest today. No, rest doesn't come because somebody else calls, there's a fire drill at work, there's a fire drill with your kids, like whatever it is, right? You just keep going, keep going, keep going. And you keep going because you're an awesome doing machine. Because, hey, man, we have been trained to be the most amazing doing machines. And next thing you know, 6 months just went by and you didn't do any of the things you said you wanted to do. And you're still on that doing machine. 3 weeks goes by, 3 days goes by. You forgot to call that person back. All those things, right? Getting caught up in the day. And sometimes you just lay down and you're like, oh, I just can rest and relax. Okay, just a minute, just 1 minute. And next thing you know, you fall asleep. Okay. So these are the things, right? And you often don't have time maybe to stop and ask yourself, why is my life showing up the way it is? And I am not liking the way it is right now. Well, I try to do that. And I also give myself space and time in the morning. I do. And at night, I will. I will stop and give myself a break. Even during the day, sometimes I will stop and give myself 10 minutes. Sometimes it's an hour. I will give myself that space to reconnect and recollect within myself. But it's taken years for me to learn how to do that and say no to that outside world that's so damn demanding that would literally take me until I dried up like a prune, right? If I allowed it to, it would just take, 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 take. So I often have to stop and fill my tank. So this weekend that occurred, I heard this voice, why can't they see me? And that voice I hear all the time. I hear it, but I'd never really heard it and I never really paid attention to it. I could hear it because it would just be this dull frustration that over time would build up. And all of a sudden, my life would continue to have these events and these circumstances where I'd be so frustrated that they can't hear me or see me. It hadn't dawned on me yet. That blind spot had not been brought forward to me yet, showing me it's because you don't see you yet. So, what area of your life, when we're talking about this conversation, what did you choose to look at? And if you were really to get wildly accountable and truthful for yourself, what is the sentence or the conversation that's running in your subconscious? Take a look at your life. You might even have to pause the show to really breathe in and be like, okay, what are the patterns I keep seeing? What's the persistent complaint in my life? What is that persistent complaint? I have a persistent complaint in the area of my career, and I have a persistent complaint in the area of romance. And what I learned this weekend is they're the same exact complaint. They don't see me. And that's because I had not been seeing myself. Light bulb moment. I haven't been seeing who I really am. And I want to share this not from the perspective of, I got it all handled. I got my shit together. I'm a badass. No, I mean, I am a badass just because, like, all of you women out there, all you single mamas, all you mamas, we're just badasses because we're badasses because we get up every day and we do what we got to do to raise these incredible humans that we have. Sorry, that's a badass. That takes a badass to do that. So, however you do it, however it shows up for you. And sometimes it's really messy. Some people are just have like the super smooth, easy life. Some of us has super messy lives. Some of us have, in the middle of that, it's like however it shows up for you. But when you're doing the do as being a mom, you're a badass. Okay. So I want to share this from a very humbling place. It's actually going to move me. This is a very humbling place. I began to see myself as powerful in a way I'd never seen myself before. And lately, I've been having out of body experiences. I rebranded this show to Intuitive Mentor Mom because I have a lot of gifts intuitively, psychically. I have a lot of gifts, and I love sharing those gifts with others who need support and need help, who have blocks. Okay. lately, what has been happening in my life is I'll be on the phone talking to somebody, and I literally have this experience of an expanded energy that comes outside of me and is literally looking at me through the third lens. And when I see myself through that third lens, I look around at the home I've provided for my son, the home that I was able to give us. I look around at the hellacious mountain of things that we have that I cannot wait to like dive in and start giving some stuff to the Goodwill because somehow we've accumulated a lot of stuff. And I look at the land we live on. I look at the neighbors we have. I look at the career that I've held. I don't have a bachelor's degree. I have a half of a bachelor's degree, but I don't have a full one. I didn't study science or biology in that level. And here I am working in the area of genetics in the medical industry. I've somehow become really good at what I do. I've been in sales for over 30 years. My selling style is very unconventional. I have a lot of sales training under my belt from various companies through the companies I've worked for. I have a bachelor's degree and a PhD in life. And I am somebody who has, learning disabilities, dyslexia, and I just recently learned that I have dysgraphia. Whether that's something you can outgrow, I don't know. But over the years, I just figured out how to manage and live with the way my brain operates. In no way, shape, or form am I perfect. I've only been married for a year. We were together 6 years, but only a year. I've never had a relationship longer than that. But I managed to have a really successful life. A life that on paper looks like a life that a lot of people probably want or would like to have, those that don't have it. There's plenty of people that have way more life than I do. But that's not what it's about, right? It's not about us comparing what kind of lives we have. It's about us really getting who we are for ourselves. And have you ever just sat back and really gotten who you are? Have you ever sat back and really wrote down all your accomplishments? Have you ever stopped beating yourself up or having yourself feel guilty about the things you didn't do and really get present to the things that you did do? How about the things you did when it was really hard, but you did it anyway? How about the things that you did that you went above and beyond and you had no idea how you were going to do it, but you figured it out? And you went and found all the resources. You reached out to resources and support. Sometimes you didn't reach out for any support because you were afraid to reach out and you just did it on your own. Have you really honored and acknowledged yourself for those moments in your life that literally occur every day and you're not even aware of it? You're not even aware of how much you really do for yourself and your family. Have you sat back and really acknowledged who you are? Because that's what started happening to me in the last few weeks. And I realized that people can't see me because I haven't seen me. And when I don't see me, I'm not speaking really from a place that is the total rawness of my truth. Because what I also got to see is I've been trying to, and we'll go back to the area of career, trying to conform myself into what I think they want me to be, hoping they never find out I don't have my bachelor's degree yet. And one friend today, God love her, she's like, why don't you just lie about it? And I was like, well, unfortunately, because I have it that my bachelor's is in the way of me growing in the area of my career. Okay. Unfortunately, they do background checks, so they'd find out that it isn't finished. It started, but it's not finished. But what I really got to see for myself, and even that, was how frustrated and angry I was. Why is it that that freaking piece of paper gets to say whether I get promoted or not? Why is it that that piece of paper gets to say whether these people choose to talk to me or not? Why can't they just listen to what I say, hear me? Why can't they see the light? Why can't they recognize the brightness and the passion and the hunger and the excitement? Why on earth are they going to look at me and say, "We really like you, but you don't have the contacts. We really like you, but you don't have the degree. We really like you, but..." And that stuff would make me livid. And you know what I would do? I would just say, "Okay, it's because I don't have the degree. So what do I got to do so that I can keep looking of whatever way, what would I have to do to fit in this mold?" That's really what would be running in the background. What do I have to do to fit in this mold? So that way they'll see me. They'll see me if I keep fitting in the mold. I got to fit in the mold. Okay, let me look at other resumes. What do I have to say? Okay, I need to get this way. Okay, I need to show this thing. Okay, I need to, I would be doing that. Okay, I'm going to go talk to this, you know, senior leader. And okay, what are all the things that I know he or she is going to want to see it in this way? And I have to come prepared in this way. And because this is what you're supposed to do. And here's the things that you do. So Saturday morning, there I was driving to this conference, talking to a dear friend as I was bawling my eyes out, and I was raging. I was raging at how angry I was, holding all this back, trying to conform into a box that I am not. So what I've had to hold myself accountable for is that I've been hiding in a box that I'm not. So afraid to step up and say, which I actually had an interview this week and I actually did step up for myself. And that's really the point of me sharing all this. I had to stand up for myself. That was me being accountable for Tara. I had to stand up for myself. I had to say, no more are you going to push me around. No more are you going to tell me that I'm something that I am not. And no more are you going to tell me that I'm not good at what I do. Because I am really good at what I do. And it may not look conventional. It may not look the way you think it needs to look. But hey, I produce the results you asked me to produce. I get them there. I do it and I surpass them. And that's what I had to recognize about myself. I had to get so pissed off. And I was pushed up against it. I was pushed up against it with my manager this week. I was pushed up against it with the role that I currently have. I was pushed up against it in a tango and a dance with somebody I love. And I wasn't telling the truth to him or to me, and I hadn't been telling the truth in the area of my career. And I hadn't been telling the truth to myself. And that is, I will no longer be bullied. I will no longer be told, "We love you, but you don't have the contacts." Well, guess what? That person that you're going to hire that has the contacts, do they have this passion? Do they have this excitement? Do they have this drive? Do they have an unwillingness to get up and do whatever it takes on whatever given day, even when they don't feel like it? Because who I am is somebody who has to fucking make shit happen so that I can feed my family because I'm it. I'm the only one. Do they have that kind of passion or drive? And do those contacts that they want or that they have, do those contacts really want to see them? Do those contacts like them? I'm curious. So are you going to hire them because they have the contacts? Or are you going to hire them because you see their light? Are you going to hire them because you see their brilliance And when I say brilliance, like you see that diamond in the rough shining because you see their passion. You're not sure what it is, but they keep making you laugh and you're not sure what it is. But hey, it's outside of that norm. And you're so used to that norm. You're so used to it happening. Oh, it's got to look this way. You need this degree. And oh, good, you went to that school. And oh, you know all these people and you worked at those companies. Yeah, let's keep it inside that box. How's that box working for you? And what about the people that don't necessarily fit the mold? You might be missing the unicorn. So, all of you listening out there, are you a unicorn? I would imagine that you are. You're listening to this show of mine, and I'm now seeing I'm a unicorn, like for real. I'm a unicorn. And I'm going to own my unicornness because that's me being accountable. So, if you're listening to this show right now, I guarantee you you're a unicorn. But do you really get at the level at which you're a unicorn? Can you see the colors in your horn? Do you see the glimmer? Do you see the shine? Do you see the sparkle? Do you feel your legs kicking back and kicking up? Are you bucking around because you got the spirit and the energy within you and you just want to explode and have an amazing like life? If you are not feeling that, then you got to look at what are you not holding yourself accountable for? What is the sentence or the persistent complaint that is running in the background of your day? It's running every day. And you can see it in the results that are sitting in front of you in your life. And the results that I kept seeing was I'm not it. They can't hear me. They can't see me. They keep passing me up for either somebody else, or then I would see them pass me up for somebody else only to have that person in whatever role for a very short time. And it wasn't that good. It wasn't what they were looking for. Or that person would leave. And there they would be back at square one. And there I would be thinking, had you just given me an opportunity, maybe it would have looked different. But you know who hadn't been giving me the opportunity? Me. Because that has nothing to do with them. I had not been choosing myself because I keep trying to fit myself into what I think they want me to be. And that is this collegiate pedigree individual, which I do not want to downplay that. And I don't mean to say it in that way. And I probably shouldn't say it in that way. Because those of you who have all the schooling and all the degrees and the letters, it took something for you to accomplish that. It really did. And it wasn't easy. I guarantee it probably was not easy, right? But hey, the life I have hasn't been easy either. And it took something for me to accomplish everything I have. It's a different kind of degree, but it really is the same. It really is the same. It's just different. Just looks a little different on paper. Doesn't mean I didn't put the hours in. Doesn't mean I didn't stay up long nights. Doesn't mean I didn't go kicking and screaming sometimes. And it doesn't mean I didn't fail a lot of the time, only to have to get right back up and fight for the A, fight for the A, fight for the grade. But I have found over the years, I stopped really fighting for myself. I was really happy to fight for others, always ready to fight for others' injustice. But I hadn't really been fighting for myself. So I might have got a little off topic today. I'm pretty passionate about this right now, but it really is about looking at where are you going to hold yourself accountable? And once you recognize what that sentence is, that persistent complaint that's happening in your world, and you own it, you can't blame others for it being there. You have to really own it. You have to look at how was I the contribution to this happening to my world? Who have I been being that has allowed this complaint of mine to persist? And who was I unwilling to show up for? Was I unwilling to show up for myself? Was I willing to was I unwilling to show up for others? Was I unwilling to call myself out and call one on myself? I called one on myself. I said to myself, Tara Michelle, you are going to take your dignity back and you're going to stop allowing this person to behave this way with you. Because what you have to offer, this person and you, is golden. And every time you allow that person to have the response he's having, you are not respecting yourself. You're respecting yourself at the lowest level. So, what are you going to do about it, girlfriend? You're going to fucking pick up your big girl panties and you're going to make a phone call and you're going to say what you need to say and you're going to say it and you're going to put up a boundary and you're going to say, I'm not going to tolerate that anymore. This is not how people treat each other when they care about one another. And you're going to do the same thing at work. This is not how you treat your employees that work very hard for you every day. And some days it's tough. And they're out there on the front lines getting rejected or, whatever it is, those of you on the front line in the sales world, whatever it is, you know how hard it can be sometimes. And then to not have the experience that your time is valuable, that your energy, your skills are valuable, and to have somebody speak to you in a condescending way, even so much as to belittle you and to judge you, to make fun of you. Don't ever let a manager tear you down. Remind them that we all need to respect one another and we all need to treat each other with kindness and respect because it is a tough world out there. And in the industry I work in, it is competitive as nobody's business and it is cutthroat. And I'll be damned today if I ever let any manager disempower me in a way that is not going to uplift me to want to really fight for what we're all fighting for. We're on the same team here. So again, I digress. It's about passion. It's about holding yourself accountable. Okay. And to get back to it, I want to remind you, you have to release yourself from the outcome. You have to release the attachment to the way things should show up. If you are out to reconstruct your dream life, to reconstruct the architecture, you have to get wildly accountable, okay, at what is the persistent complaint? What is the thing that keeps showing up in your world? What is it that you don't like about it? And then you have to be accountable for that. You're responsible for that. And hey, you may want to get upset and say, oh, but it's so-and-so's fault. And it's my family and my parents and my kids and the job, whatever. Yeah, I get that. I get that. I get that. But it starts with you. And when you get wildly straight with yourself and who you're not being for yourself, that's when you get to redirect and re-steer the ship, right? You get to turn that ship around. And so that's what I'm in the midst of, turning that ship around. And I promise you and guarantee you, I hope it's not too messy. It might get a little messy, but I will tell you this, it's uncomfortable. And there I was, I reached out to somebody, another dear friend this weekend to talk a little bit more about this because he has a lot of experience in staffing and I wanted his perspective and his opinion. And he said, because I was like, this is so unknown to me. And he said, it's not unknown to you. He's like, there's nothing unknown about it. It's just uncomfortable between now and the outcome. And this is the path you have to walk down. You have to be uncomfortable as you walk this through. And he was right. There's nothing unknown about it. What's unknown about it is not knowing how it's going to turn out. But no matter what, you know it's going to turn out good. You just don't know what that's going to look like, and that's the uncomfortable piece. Because we like to control our outcome. We like to control our world. We like to control everything. So then we don't have to feel the feels. So if I could control, how somebody's going to show up so I don't have to feel rejection or abandonment in my heart or in my body, so I don't have to look at what that means. So I don't have to look at, oh my God, what's in that empty space within me? I'm so terrified to look at it. Oh my God, because then I have to feel how much it hurts. Well, guess what? I'm the one who abandoned me. I abandon myself when I don't allow myself to look at those things deeply. There's nobody abandoning me, but except for me. And that's not to discount or disregard if you really have been abandoned by a parent or something. Like, I know that happens. But are you going to be victimized by it? Or are you going to overcome it and like become the hero within your own story? Remind you that life's happening for you. It's not to you. So that was a lot. I'm going to wrap this up. That was a lot. I just, really want to have everybody, this is where the rubber meets the road. If you want to reconstruct your illusion and create it to the life that you really desire, you have to look at your blueprint and you have to ask yourself, where was I misaligned? What piece did I miss? What's the complaint that I have? Is it that I'm not enough? Is it that, they don't see me? Is it that um, they don't care about me? I'm not lovable. I don't know. Like it's different for everybody. I have layers of this stuff. One of the layers years ago was I'm not enough. I'm not lovable. I'm never chosen. That was another one that recently came. I'm never chosen. And what's underneath I'm never chosen is they can't see me. And how that shows up is me trying to conform and contort into what I think they want me to be instead of just putting my foot down and saying, hey, yo, this is who Tara is. This is me. This is me and all my glory and all my stuff. This is me. And this is what I want. Here's my clear communication. And we're either aligned or we're not. Period. That goes for relationships, that goes for career, that goes for everything. And now I get to step inside of my career and really say, okay, Tara, now that you've discovered this about yourself, what are the steps you're going to put into action to now root yourself into you see you? What does it look like for me to see me? What does that look like? What are the actions? Who would I be being now that I see myself? And that's the video we'll get into, not the video, that's the episode we'll get into next. Once you discover that piece to be accountable, then how do you put those things into action? How do you redirect who you really are? How do you clean up any messes that might show up as a result of you recognizing where you weren't being accountable to yourself? What are the areas of cleanup that you have to do to then realign that ship to sail off into the desired dream that you have? That's what's next. So thank you so much for just joining me on that conversation. I am with everybody that is listening to this show. I am on the journey with you. That is what this show is about. Intuitive mentor mom. That's who I am. I'm an intuit and I'm a mom, and I'm happy to support those of you who are walking through tough times in life or areas of life that just are uncomfortable and not showing up the way you want them. And I'm here to share aspects of my life and how I walk through it. And God knows it's not easy, but hey, this is what we're here to do, right? It's a journey, it's a life adventure. it's healing adventures. That's what it is. It's like, let's, put our boots on and let's get to playing. Anyways, until the next show, I look forward to chatting with you all then. And as a reminder for all of those listening, I invite you to take advantage of the 30-minute discovery call that we can have. It's complimentary. And all I'm asking in return is that you share with me your experience. And that way I can share with others. And I look forward to seeing you all in a couple weeks. Thanks again, and have an amazing and blessed week. Take care. Thank you for coming on this healing adventure today. If you're starting to see how everything is falling into place for you, consider rating the show and sharing it with one of your friends. Keep that spirit alive and join me next week, same place, same time. Have a great week.